Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 167 of Screw the Commute podcast. We got Judy Carter, the famous Judy Carter is here with us. And in case you didn't know it, she is the author of the Bible. I'll tell you about that in a moment. And I hope you didn't miss episode 166. That was on leasing commercial space. This is something you got a lot of details. This is not something to play and just go off of my podcast and go rent a warehouse. I mean, this is something you got to get a lawyer involved, but the more you know ahead of time, the better deals you can make, and you'll have a lot better time. So make sure you listen to 166 if you are going not to screw the commute and you're going to lease some space. You better know what you're doing. Also, please tell your friends about this podcast. You know, there's probably somebody in your life that's either in a business and struggling or wanting to start a business. So this is the place to be. And they can also get a podcast app, and so can you at the iTunes store. If you go to screwthecommute.com/app, that's APP, we got the complete instructions. You can download it and take us with you on the road. Now, I also have a big thank you for everybody listening to this podcast. It's my $27 ebook, How to Automate Your Business. And just one of the tips in this ebook has saved me over 7.5 million keystrokes. And there's tons of automation techniques. I got to 150,000 subscribers and 40,000 customers with one part-time temp person. All right. And she didn't even handle customers. All right. So these are very, very powerful yet inexpensive tools, and you'll learn all about them. And also, if you go over there, I've got a special little extra for you on, it's a white paper on what I learned after doing 130 quality podcasts. And now we're almost up to 170. But it'll really help you if you're doing a podcast with all the equipment I use, pictures and the strategies and all that stuff. So make sure you check that out at screwthecommute.com/automate free. screwthecommute.com/automate free. Now I'm looking for affiliates. I'm looking for people that have influence out there for different groups and that they believe in me. Maybe you've listened to a lot of these podcasts because I've got a very active affiliate program, and commissions can be in excess of $5,000. So in all ranges, we have everything from $10 or $12 up to, like I said, in excess of $5,000. So if you are interested in that, email me at orders@antion.com, orders@antion.com, and tell me how you think you might promote it, and we'll get together on the phone and kick it around, and hopefully I'll be sending you some big checks. All right, let's get to the main event. Judy Carter was interviewed by Oprah Winfrey after writing her first book, Stand-Up Comedy, the Book. And Judy went from playing Vegas as a headlining stand-up comic to becoming an in-demand corporate speaker. And she speaks on the power of purpose to overcome stress and navigate change. And she was featured in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CNN, as well as being a frequent contributor to NPR's All Things Considered. And she really doesn't like to brag, so I'm going to tell you about this, but she did write the Bible. She's the author of The Comedy Bible by Simon & Schuster, as well as The Message of You by St. Martin's Press. And she currently runs online classes at themessageofyou.com. We'll, of course, have that in the show notes for you, and a little later, she's going to have a great freebie for you. And at the Message of You, participants get instructed on how to turn their story into a money-making speaking career. Judy, are you ready to screw the commute?
Well, not without dinner and a movie.
Okay. I'll send that.
Do.
I'll email that to you. Yeah. So
yeah, a little motivation, Tom.
So
in the afternoon right now.
I'll tell you what. It's been a long time since I've talked to you, and I missed you. Tell everybody what you're doing right now, and then we're going to take you back all the way and bring you up to show how you became such a fantastic entrepreneur.
Well, I have to tell you, you've really helped me. You know, when I first started being an entrepreneur, Well, that was when I was 8. You didn't help me back then. I don't think we had met then. But when I turned to speaking, you really have some great tips. So people in the audience, Tom really, I remember I was going to be hiring all these people to help me go, you can do it yourself. I hire a kid in high school. Judy, what are you talking about? Do it yourself. So what I do now is, how you go to a meeting at a corporation and they have blah, 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 blah. The CFO speaks. It's just
You want to
so
shoot yourself.
friggin-
Yeah.
Or, yeah, you want to poke your eyes out with a pencil. And so I'm a former stand-up comic, and I discovered that companies will pay a lot of money if you have a message. And they don't pay that much money if you're a comic. But if you have a message, they are looking for people that can really liven up and give a lot of energy and motivation to their employees. And apparently that's worth a lot of money and even first class travel. So
Yeah.
it was nice going from comedy clubs with what's like, yeah, you get a hamburger and right to Orange Roughy and first class. So
Yeah, and that's the way
I've been doing.
Well,
and
that's
I
the
also
way.
coach a lot of people who really want to do TED Talks, or they want to put themselves out there as an expert, and so I help them do it.
Yeah, and that's the way exactly the way I came up, because I came out of professional comedy. I wrote professional comedy for 6 years, and
That's right.
and then very quickly I learned that coming in as a humorist was not the best idea. It's best to come in as an expert who's entertaining, and your fee is way higher. And then there's another little thing on the side here, Judy. I don't know if you're aware of, but if you're just straight entertainment, you're only half tax deductible to the company. Did you know that?
Oh, that's a really good point.
Right. You can start telling your
know
speakers
that.
that, because your meals and entertainment, just look at your own taxes. They're 50% tax deductible, not fully. So,
well, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I find that if you have a message that can help them earn more money, then you become more valuable, and they're willing to pay you what I think is kind of insane, amounts of money.
It is, but take the check. Take the check.
Yeah, I used to get super nervous before I perform, and now I realize if I do really bad, nothing happens, and I get a check. And if I do really killer, nothing happens, and I get a check. So
Yeah.
that's helped reduce my fear.
Well,
But,
it's another thing too, that if you're an entertaining speaker, the bar isn't as high as it is if you're a comic. If you're supposed to be the comic to make everybody laugh, I mean, you've got a high bar. But if you're making points and getting the information across and it's entertaining, it's kind of a surprise to many of them rather than an expectation. So the laughter comes easier.
100%. If you're a comic, your laugh per minute needs to be 6 laughs a minute.
Right.
That means every 10 seconds. Now, when you're a speaker, you can use stories,
Mhm. Yep.
right?
Right.
And I've also found that people love drama. Like when I now have a story that really touches people's hearts. It's such a beautiful connection. And I've learned that sometimes that's even more powerful than having a room full of laughter. So I help people, find those stories and then the message within them to find their message. Because I do believe everybody has a central message. And that's why I wrote the book, The Message of You, to help people find it.
Yeah, and when you have that ability that Judy can teach you of being able to go to those extremes of emotion on one hand and then laughter on the other, which is another type of emotion, I mean, you can write your ticket. I mean, because you'll be able to touch everybody in the audience, instead of just one faction. If you're really good at emotion and you got a bunch of people that are, kind of stoic, then you hit them with laughter. So now you got everybody in your...
Well, not only we're talking about speaking now, but everybody who's listening on this program, If you're an entrepreneur, you need to have three essential stories. You need to have the story of your business. And most stories about businesses are, you might notice that Apple and Microsoft have the same exact story. Like Microsoft is, we started in a
Right.
garage.
Yeah.
We didn't even have an office, and now look at us, we sell office. But so it's this mess to success of one's business, and that's an important thing to have on your website. And then there's the uh, the story of your customer. Of my customers start with, they don't know, maybe is mess to success, like what journey do you take your customers on? And a story can be a sentence, or it could be an
Hmm.
hour, or, I mean, story can be anything. But that story of testimonials, every time I have a client give a testimonial and I videotape them, I go, tell me where you started, because they'll go like, oh, Judy helped me, now I have a book deal, now I'm doing TED Talks. I go, no, 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 talk about the confusion, you didn't know what you were, talk to me about your starting point and then your end point. So you create these testimonial stories. And then the last story is that you have is, what is your personal heart story? Matter of fact, if people stay to the end of this, I'm going to give them an incredibly free learning experience about how they can find their heart story.
Beautiful.
But you start with your own mess, because, like, let's just say I'm a speaker and I'm speaking for 8,500. I'm speaking with, Bill Clinton, whatever. Okay, it's impressive, but it's more impressive when you learn that I was a kid with a speech impediment.
I didn't
So
know
it's
that.
so, yeah, it was so bad. I couldn't say the word impediment, which is
Oh
a kind
man.
of mean word,
Yeah.
because they should say you have a speech, because that I could say. So we want to start with your own mess, and because that's probably why you started your business, because there's something in your childhood that was not right that you wanted to fix, and that's how we find that our essential story, our heart stories. So those three stories are, whether you're going to speak or not speak, um, it's very important to know those and put it on your website, put it everywhere.
It kind of reminds me of the weight loss before and after pictures. No matter how cheesy
Exactly.
they are, they totally catch you if you if you're worried about losing weight, right? So,
Right. You see a skinny person, who cares?
right.
Skinny person. But then when you see that they once weighed 300 pounds, it's like, oh my God, that's phenomenal. Sign me up. How do I do this? And it's the same thing with your, with your business or whatever it is that you're doing. You want to show your customers what a mess they were before they met you.
Yeah, for sure. And you did mention it briefly about like a story could be 1 minute or longer, but I teach people have three different lengths of the story because if you have plenty of time, which is not usually, but you can extend it. If you have a shorter time, you're not sweating it out and messing it up. You have a medium length, and then you have a really short length for publicity and radio and TV interviews. So that's a good help. But speaking of going back to your childhood, let's go back to yours. I didn't know about the speech impediment. So
Hmm.
were you entrepreneurial when you grew up, or what kind of kid were you?
Oh, I had such a huge business when I was eight, Tom. Huge. I was, if you equate for inflation, I'm making about the same.
What
No,
was it?
what happened was when I saw a magic show, my life changed. I just wanted to be a magician. And my father would go, girls aren't magicians. Oh, he was so mean. You be the assistant. And I go, I don't want to be assistant. I mean, I knew who was, cleaning up the Dove shit and folding all this. I wanted to do the magic. That's what I
Mhm.
wanted. And so, like I said, I was from a very troubled family. I had a sister who was severely disabled, and uh, so I wanted that kind of power. And I went to the library and I found books on magic, and so I had a terrible speech impediment. The books had something called patter,
Patter. Mm-hmm.
right? And so it told you, it was like a complete way to have an act. This is what you do, and this is what you say. So I was able to practice. And then next thing you know, I got together with my neighbor, PG. She was 9, I was 8. And we printed up business cards. And back then we had a toy printing press. And we started a birthday party business.
Wow.
And I developed like the birthday party trick. And after I did this fabulous trick with the birthday girl or boy, I said, now, wouldn't you want Majika the magician to come to your birthday party?
That was your name, Majika?
Yeah, Majika the magician. And I said, put this card in your shoe. Now let's practice what you're going to say to your parents. I want Majika the magician. Let's all say that together, what we're going to say to our parents. So I had enormous entrepreneurial skill. And then, and I still have a recipe box, which every gig I did, I have a card. So as my first CRM program, right? And then each year I'd call like a couple months. I go, hello, Mrs. Johnson. Jimmy was 7. Now he's going to be look at card. He's going to be 8. Well, we've added the accordion now. And and I had enormous amount of repeat business. So by the time I was 9, I learned about sales calls, keeping in touch with your clients, keeping track of everybody. And everything I ever needed to know, I really learned when I was 8.
Now, what was your friend? How was your friend involved?
Well, PG, see, because I couldn't talk well, she'd write things out for me. And so then she goes, I think we need more publicity. Let's do a backyard benefit. Take voluntary contributions and let's call the newspaper. So we called up the LA Times. We're just kids. I go, hi, I'm a girl magician and I have a good deed up my sleeve. We just, anyway, LA Times came by, took a huge spread, pictures. We donated to Cedars-Sinai Hospital. And that's when I learned about publicity. And
how old were you at this time?
Well, I was 10.
10. Oh, well, you were seasoned. You were seasoned by then.
I was seasoned entrepreneur by then. And the truth is, my life hasn't really changed that much. And what I learned back then, I still use. And, sometimes I look at myself in a mirror and I go, wow, this pantsuit cost me like 3 jokes. My house cost me 1 million jokes. And I've been able to, except for a brief period, make a living, not having a job, really.
Beautiful. You screwed the commute since you were a kid. Now, did you pay PG as a 1099 contractor or what?
Let's see. The fee for the magic show is $2. She got 75 cents and I kept 125.
Oh, all right. Well, that's fair.
When we were 15, she decided to split it, and she would pay for the inventory for the magic tricks. But by 50, it didn't work out. And by 50 and a half, I bought her out.
Yeah. It's these, acquired her shares. So, all right. So, but take us up through there because you were working Vegas, right? I mean, were you always a comic or a comical magician or?
Well, I was a magician. I was traveling with huge escape from a garbage can, tied up with twist ties, and I was traveling, Tom, with like huge luggage, like garbage cans. With
almost like
all sorts of crazy
Carrot
stuff.
Top or something. Yeah.
It was crazy. But then one day, as my tricks didn't come, and it was Chicago was kind of a mafia place. I go, yo, you got to go on. And I go, I don't have my tricks. We don't care, little lady. You don't have your tricks. You're going on.
Oh man.
And that's when I just got up and started telling jokes and realized I've been hiding behind these tricks.
Uh-huh.
I can be funny. And then I did that. And then that turned into really a lonely life, sometimes 46 weeks out of the year on the road.
And
And
this wasn't a time where female comedians were embraced, right?
oh, like they are now so much. Right?
Well, I mean, comparatively.
No, it's still bad. It hasn't changed very much. No, it's never been easy. At the time, I think Elaine Boosler and myself were the only women on the road. Of course, there was like Lily Tomlin and Toady Fields before her, and but it it wasn't easy. And I quit because I wasn't enjoying my life and I wanted to do something different. And that's when I started to write a book. And my book was rejected from 59 agents. So if
That's all.
you have something you want to do and you get rejected, keep on going because number 60 might be it. Number 60 was it. And then
Well, I mean, it's
random
kind of
house
good
liked
you
it.
didn't keep looking after you got accepted.
Yeah, no, that was it. And then Oprah Winfrey had me on her show.
Yeah, how did that come about? She found the
Well,
book. Were you in her book club or something?
she was doing her show. She had a regular
Right.
TV show then. And this is a book that everybody said nobody's interested in learning how to do comedy. It was such at the time when my first book came out, I think it was actually 89, 19, or was it 91, something like that, but it was a long time ago. Not everybody wanted to be in the spotlight. So my book changed all of that. And Oprah, Random House published my book. And then we got a call from Oprah who said, I'm very interested in female comedians and I want to do a show about housewives who do comedy. And I want to feature you and your book as the expert on the show. And that's actually when I discovered speaking because, Oprah held my book next to herself. And, anything she holds next to her chest becomes very famous, whether it's a book or Obama or anything. And next thing you know, I got a call from corporations going, can you help us lighten up? Can you come speak? And then the comedy boom happened. And nobody knew how to do comedy. All they knew is that they wanted to do it. And my book later, The Comedy Bible, was a rewrite of it, became the go-to book if you wanted to write a sitcom or if you wanted to do stand-up or whatever you wanted to do, it became the go-to book. So that's how that all happened.
That's crazy. Yeah. So you never actually had a job then, right?
So I was a teacher, but apparently being the class clown is not appropriate for the teacher. So I got fired, and that was the only job I ever had.
How long did that last?
2 years.
So I guess it wasn't you planned on your exit, right?
No, but I had always been performing, and then I became the first woman to work the Magic Castle.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Close-Up
Wow.
Gallery.
Yes. Tell everybody what that is if they don't know. Yeah.
The Magic Castle is where I live in Los Angeles, and it's in Hollywood, and it's a place for magicians, and everybody dresses up very fancy. It's a beautiful place. And basically they drink a lot and watch magic shows. And it's a real castle, and you go in and out of rooms. It's a private club for magicians, invite only.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times, and it's cool. You go through this sliding like bookcase, this hidden bookcase to get into place.
Yeah, you go open sesame and you get in, and very cool place. So when I first performed there, one of the magicians actually carried me out. He went like, women don't belong here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. So nonsense. So there you go.
So you have a freebie for everybody, right?
Yes, I do, because a lot of people look at my life and go, wow, you don't have a job and you're making money. How do I do that? And then they go, can I take you out to lunch? And I'm going, all right, you want to get everything I know and just give me a
A
piece of
hamburger,
salmon?
yeah.
I mean, I do like salmon, but I'm thinking, so I went, I can't stand this anymore. So I created a complete online site on how people can either turn their problems into punchlines, be funny, but find their message and find a commercial message on what I call a bookable topic, find their stories and turn it into a paid speaking career. And so many of the people on the site are off, like working like crazy. It's just wonderful to see, because we also gather twice a month, and we see what people are doing, and everybody gets feedback. So it's really a phenomenal thing. And I want to give the people listening here a free look at it.
That's
So you
great.
can
Now, you
look.
gather online or what?
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
online.
so
It's called the
anybody anywhere can do this. They
messageofyou.com.
don't have to live in Los Angeles.
No, because we all do it online.
Mhm.
We all meet, and there are actually people from all over the world.
Right.
So if you email me, if you're listening to this and you are interested in finding your message and you feel you might have something, your life means something that can be used to inspire others, email me. I'll give you the email address. Free, FREE, that's free, at judycarter.com. And that's just my name, JUDYCARTER. So if you email me free at judycarter.com, I will give you an instant link that you then can go out and start making a living as a speaker. And
Wow.
even if you don't want to make a living, it's so important to know your message, because every entrepreneur, I have so many of the members of the Message of You, they're like accountants that help people with retirement. Like, not some people don't have like really, sensational show busy lives, but they use speaking as a way to get new clients and customers.
Mhm.
And so some people will speak for free. And when you know how to speak in a certain way that inspires people rather than puts them to sleep, it's amazing how many people you can enroll.
For sure. I mean, every day I get one of these things where, it's a free steak at Ruth Chris's if you come down for our financial planning thing. Or I've even got one from plumbers. We'll show you how to remodel your bathroom. you know, and they know once they show you how to do it, you'll say, "Hell with this, you do it." So that's great. So it's free at judycarter.com, and we'll have that in the show notes for everybody. And we got to take a brief sponsor break, and when we come back, we'll ask Judy, what's a typical day look like for her if she's not screwing the commute. And if you're going to screw the commute, where she lives is a perfect place to screw the commute. Let me tell you, because I visit there once in a while, and I just sit there and look at the scenery, all the cars around me, because the traffic is crazy. So that's not a place you want to commute. Anyway, folks, I turned the internet training world on its head around the year 2000. I like to say the turn of the century, because people at my level were charging 50 or 100 grand up front to teach people internet marketing techniques. And I said, yeah, that's too much money to charge people. And you're putting them in financial risk, and half the people doing it were ripoffs anyway. Once they got their money, they got your money, they ran. So I kind of turned it upside down by giving a relatively small entry fee and then taking a percentage of profits that's capped. So for me to get my big money, you got to make really big money. So 1,700 students later, and 20 years later, it's still going strong because people love that model. They know I'm not going to disappear on them. And it's the most successful and most unique program in the internet marketing field ever. Part of the uniqueness is you spend an immersion weekend here, right where I'm sitting in the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center. You actually live in the house with a small group for an immersion weekend. You also get a scholarship to my Internet Marketing School, which is the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country. The scholarship is worth $19,100. It's extremely unique, and it's one-on-one with myself and my entire staff. We just don't lump you together and just throw stuff at you. We want results from you. Because guess what? I won't get my money unless you make money. So I could have just lump you in with a bunch of other people. So that's the nature of the program. If you want all the details, check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. Greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, and we'll have it in the show notes along with Judy's stuff at episode 167. This is 167, so it's screwthecommute.com/167, and you'll be able to get that address for Judy's freebie and check out the internet training program. All right, let's get back to the main event. Judy Carter's here with us. And Judy, what's a typical day look like for you now?
Well, a typical day right now is up at 5:30 a.m.
Wow.
And writing, because I'm writing the Comedy Bible, the New Testament. And that's right, the New Comedy Bible. I don't know if it's going to be the New Comedy Bible, the New Testament, too much new in it. But anyway, so because as I get, I mean, entrepreneur is a French word, and I think it means I work in my underwear. I'm working all
24 hours a day. Yeah.
24, and I can only write early in the morning because no one's up, nobody's bugging me, and I can get like 3 hours in.
Nice.
And then the rest of the day is really spent taking care of all the projects, marketing, writing maybe a speech. Like I just did a speech out in Chautauqua, New York, and that had to be written. And so there's always things that have to be done.
Do you have a staff?
Yes. One person and my dog.
And which one does better?
I think the dog. Although the dog listens to my act over and over and over again and doesn't complain.
That's good. All right, so you got one person helping you. You got 3 hours of writing in, and so you're starting to take care of people and marketing. And how's the rest of the day go?
I found some really good things. My email has been very frustrating for me. And then I found Gmail, and then I found a program called Yanado. And it's a plugin for Gmail, and you can just turn your emails into tasks and then put a date where you're going to work on them so they get out of your inbox.
Oh, that's
and I can actually clean my inbox out, and then I go look and I can search through tasks, and that email comes up with it. So that's been a really good thing.
How do you spell that?
Yanado.
Yanado. Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes also.
Yeah, that's been a really good app. I find some apps are extremely helpful. We also have a podcast called themessageofyou.com, and we record like a month's worth all in one sitting. And that's to give people motivation on how to sustain their business, because a lot of people get an idea for a business and then they procrastinate and what have you. And so to keep on purpose, this is a weekly broadcast to inspire people and remind them of why they do what they do. It's called the Power of Purpose podcast with Judy Carter, available wherever you have podcasts. And then a lot of people come on the show. I have a lot of successful people come on the show who are writers, producers, and the podcast is mostly for comic speakers and writers, to keep on going, to keep being inspired.
That sounds great. So what do you like best about working for yourself, and what's the worst part?
Well, the worst part is, the writing and to keep doing it. And it seems endless now what you have to do to be an entrepreneur. Sometimes I have a fantasy, and the fantasy is that I'm working in a factory and I have to put a nut on a screw, and I go home and I don't think about, did I do it okay? Was it okay? Did I do it wrong? What do people think about that 24th screw that I put on the nut, and I don't fret about it. So I think there's a pleasure sometimes in doing physical things in the world that you don't fret about. And I think what we do as entrepreneurs is we wear so many different hats. We can't do all of them perfectly. And there's a lot of fretting about it because, if you succeed, it's just you. And if you fail, it's just you. And I think that sometimes, we all can use some help. And sometimes getting that help is almost like opening your front door and just throwing money out, right?
Yeah.
because it's not the right help. And I think that's very difficult to really find quality people who are affordable that will help you get the results that you want.
Yeah,
So,
it's more like the toilet because if you throw it out the front door, you could walk out and pick it up. It's
oh,
more
I
like,
see. I was thinking about a windy day, Tom.
yeah, well, that's true. It could be. Yeah, that's for sure. Find incredible help is. I actually have a document to help people do that if they want to email me at orders@antion.com to how to pick the right help without getting in trouble or getting ripped off. So, but anyway, thanks so much for visiting with us, Judy. It's been a blast to catch up with you. I didn't know a lot of that early. I knew it was going to be fun talking to you, but I didn't know that you dominated your neighborhood at 8 years old.
Thank you, Tom. And it's great being in your top 200, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to get a hold of you since we started a year and a half ago, but you just, it's hard to get a hold of superstars that have been on Oprah,
Well, it's a pleasure. You have a really, really good, no nonsense, no BS, nuts and bolts, to bring back another reference, ways of really helping people. And I appreciate what you do.
That was a beautiful callback, and we'll tell them what that is when they read your book. So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks so much. Make sure you get to the show notes and get that freebie from Judy, because that's gold right there. And then if you want to follow up with her,
free at judycarter.com.
Yep.
All you have to do is email it, and that's that.
There you go. Will it come back automatically anytime, or you actually get it and respond to it?
Well, I respond to every email I get.
No, but I mean, is
personally.
it automated where it just kicks back instantly?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Free at judycarter.com. So you can, as soon as you hear this, bam, wham, go over and get it. And also check the show notes if you forget the right address.
Yeah. And I'm also going to include in something to listen to in your car, how to break through procrastination and get stuff done. So that's also.
Well, they can always get that later.
Okay.
Don't do it. Do it now, folks. Do it now. So, all right. Well, everybody will.